Okay, hey everyone, welcome to an update. Today I wanted to share my current setup. In the last video, I created an overhead multicam setup using the mmhmm app in software. Today I'm going to use the Blackmagic ATEM Mini Pro switcher to create a hardware solution. The reason you want to do hardware is all the processing is happening in the encoder, not in your computer. So your computer is not going to melt down, not going to crash, it's not going to burn out really hot. And all the switching can be done in the hardware. So let's see how the setup works. So I'm at my desk right here. I'm sitting right here. And on my desk, here's the sheet of paper that's here in that space. And I got a camera. This is my Fuji X-T3. That camera is just on a tripod or a mount, and it's facing me. And over here, I'm going to show just my Blackmagic ATEM. There's various models here, but for now, I'm going to just focus on what I have, which is the Blackmagic ATEM Mini Pro, which I have 4 connection. So in HDMI 1, I'm connecting to my camera one here, my A cam. Now for overhead, I have a wall mount arm. Kind of looks like this. And I'm slightly exaggerating just to kind of create the proportions slightly off, but that's okay. And this cam's my Fuji X100V. And I use it just because it's a small camera. It's easy to mount, and I carry it with me all the time. So that's my B cam. Okay. And B cam is connected via HDMI. There's a cable that goes to it. And over here and up to my left, I have a monitor. This is for my desktop setup. And so if I wanted to share my desktop, here's an example. So here's my desktop, and let's see if I can get my software in. And this is the ATEM software control. So for example, if I want to do a presentation, show you how stuff works on this desktop, I can drag stuff into that screen there, and that is recorded. So let's get back to the overhead setup here. This is my desktop. Okay. And off to the side here, I'm going to show you, here's my Mac Mini. It can be whatever computer you want. And this is going to be somewhat complicated. So what I did here is I have from my Mac via HDMI. And this HDMI goes into a splitter. And a splitter goes to HDMI outs, okay? So HDMI 1 is going to the desktop here. So to my Mac, this desktop is seen as a second monitor. And at the same time, the splitter is sending the same signal. And for now, I have it connected to HDMI 4 in the switcher. And so what happens is when I have something on my desktop, I drag it from my computer to the desktop. It's also projecting it into the stream as part of the ATEM software. And then it allows me to overlay multiple things. And so in the screen, what you're seeing here in the space here, so let's do it down here. I'll show you down here. This is the display screen. And for this overhead setup, what I have is I created just a little picture-in-picture setting here. You can tweak the settings, bigger, crop, mask, and all that stuff. We won't get into it. But for my head here, here's input A, which is input 1 in the ATEM Mini. And this overhead view is my overhead cam here, B, which is input 2 in the ATEM Mini. And when I switch over, this is the overhead view. And over here, let's switch. And this is the desktop view. And if I'm sharing something on my desktop, again, going to have my head in the A setup here. And desktop, what are we calling that? Let's call that input C via HDMI. So again, I'm putting C here. So let's do a test there. There's my desktop. I'm going to click again. And now I have my head and I can share software. So rather than sharing something that's analog or drawn here, this is software I can share, kind of screens, open web browser, so on and so forth. And that's the setup there. So then that's my general setup here. This recording helps me kind of create different recordings as I'm doing instructional design or kind of recording a little training material and or presenting live in a Zoom meeting, for example. From an edit perspective, I can record these multiple camera setups directly into a disk. So the Blackmagic ATEM Mini Pro has the ability to record. And I take that same file that's pre-recorded from 3 different sources, throw it into Final Cut and do the edit. The reason I like doing that is because it requires just one recording solution versus me pulling files from the overhead cam, this camera, desktop recording, trying to sync it all up and edit. Just makes the workflow incredibly fast, especially if you want to produce content faster. It's not the highest quality, right? So if you want to get the best quality, you're going to do the traditional route. But in this case, I think this is the good enough, especially for publishing on YouTube and so on. I'm not doing a professional rig setup, something quick enough, and speed is of the essence, and that's the setup. If you have any questions, leave your comments below. Other than that, I will see you in the next one.